Thank you for having me on your platform, Femme Potomita. I really appreciate you guys inviting me, especially when your platform has such an important name. So you explained to me what Femme Potomita, what Femme Potomita means to you all, in addition to our culture. So it definitely is an honor and a pleasure for me to be here with you guys. My name is Karine Ulysse, and I am of Haitian descent. Mbali Creole, Mgopon Creole, Mgrandi Haiti. I grew up in Haiti. The first 7 years of my life were in Cité Soleil, and where I've watched my parents literally start from the bottom, seeing my parents work their way up the ladder. My parents didn't allow me to disconnect from the struggle that surround us in Haiti. I'm grateful for them too, that because I always had a philanthropic heart, but helping others has always been something that I've been about. Is that I've always been connected to others, have always been empathetic to other struggles, and I am a mother of one and an aunt to two. Big umbrella of what I do, I manage the businesses that my parents have established, managing my family's estate, for lack of a better word, and also running my own businesses. My other small business, which is the Etiquette and Protocol Academy of Excellence, and a foundation. So yeah, we're a family of entrepreneurs. I have a foundation, and it's called the Centre Hospitalier de Fontaine Foundation. How I would describe the foundation is we are a foundation that is here to protect what is already there. The Centre Hospitalier de Fontaine is the name of a hospital that my father built 29 years ago, almost 30, through his own blood, sweat, and tears. So to have been in Cité Soleil for almost 30 years is a testament to my father's and my mother's commitment to integrity. When it was time for me to create a foundation, I had to keep the name of the hospital. What we do, mission statement is to improve the quality of healthcare and education globally. And when I say globally, is because we have Haitians around the world. In almost every country in the world, we have Haitian pioneers who have left their homes by themselves in a foreign land, don't understand their languages. So I wanted to make sure that our foundation can go to wherever Haitians are, to treat them free of charge, provide affordable education or education free of charge around the world, while at the same time helping and treating the communities where they live. What I've envisioned when I created the mission statement for improving the quality of health, I added globally after, of healthcare and education, is because 2.5 years ago, I visited my father's hospital. Mind you, I was 27 and some change. I was finding myself, trying to juggle and finding my place in the world and my purpose. I visited my father's hospital. My grandma was sick, and I saw that she was doing okay. We were able to provide the basic care, but her condition wasn't getting better. And it wasn't because we lacked the will or the ability to do it. We didn't have, the hospital could not treat my own grandmother, his mother. So I was like, okay, vraiment bon problème. There's a real problem. I realized that the hospital needed some backing, some additional backing, because up until then, it had been my father, through his own effort, who have been able to get some support here and there from friends and family. But I was like, if this hospital is going to survive, if you can't even, let's think about it, y'all. Your mom is at your own hospital and there's nothing you can do to save her. She ended up passing. We ran out of oxygen. No one was delivering oxygen. So we had to switch her from our hospital to another one. And unfortunately, in transit, she had an asthma attack and she didn't make it. So imagine what it felt like to see your own grandmother pass in spite of you having your own family hospital. I realized that if my family's hospital needed help, I was like, I need to do something that could bring true value to hospitals in Haiti. And over time, not even over time, a couple of months later, to add the education part to the picture, a couple of months later, there was a school by our house in Thomasin, and that was threatening to shut down. School director reached out to my dad saying, hey, we need help. We can't pay our teachers, pay look. The parents aren't going to work. The past 2 years has been tough. We really don't want the kids to miss a whole academic year. So my dad decided to take on paying the teacher's salary. And I was like, okay, healthcare and education. Because if that school was struggling, imagine the other schools in Haiti with far less resources who don't have someone to cover their fees. So that's how we ended up adding education. Many things have happened since I've decided to pay attention and refuse to let something that my father worked so hard for die, which is something that happens a lot in Haiti. Our parents put their hard life's work into their businesses, whether it's a school or it's a boutique. But then our generation, because we've grown accustomed to the way of life in the States, even when our parents do choose to stay in Haiti and continue the fight, we choose to let that go. I'm not a doctor. I have no medical background. But as I'm walking around the hospital, I'm like, this doesn't look right. First thing was the laboratory. I took a picture of the lab. It was in this room, open windows, a whole bunch of light. And I was like, if I do nothing else, we need to change the lab around. Because if you want to improve the quality of healthcare, in addition to staff training, and the main thing for a patient to me is laboratory results. If you don't get the right diagnostic, if your specimen has been contaminated or compromised in any way, shape, or form, the treatment for the patient is completely off. And if the one thing can exacerbate the illness or make it worse. The first thing that has improved, which I'm super proud of, is the laboratory. And we went from this little room to this much larger room that has AC, mirrors the international standard. And the way I did that was by taking pictures of the lab, sending it to my cousin who knew someone who worked in the lab for the US government and serve as a temporary consultant. You need to do this. We've gotten a lot more donations. My dad has gotten a lot more courage to ask for, not courage, motivation to ask others in Haiti for support. So we've gotten a lot of small business sponsorships. You can see New Life at the hospital, new maternity ward. And the next thing I'm super proud of is the food program that we have. We've been able to send money over there on a regular basis so we can continue feeding people. Haitian people are on Haitian time. Biggest challenge is time management. If you leave your house, let's say we got to make it at the hospital at 8 to make sure we watch the people come in and all that stuff. The staff, see who's on time, whatever. If we do observations that day. If we leave our house at 6:03, as opposed to 6:02, we may be stuck in traffic for the rest of the day. And when that happens, whatever plan you've had for the day, it's completely upside down. So effective communication, timely communication, and execution of activities, I can say, are the biggest trouble. Having the people in Haiti understand your vision, because when you've been operating at a certain level for so long, and in Haiti where the hospital was, for example, at the time 2 years ago, with that being the standard, which is a low standard, but at the time it was a high standard for the hospital because that was improvement. Having the staff understand your vision, because it's so limited based on what they've seen institutionally at the hospital and nationally, or the standard is so low. So when you say this is what you see, you're met with so much resistance at first. We've had to change staff until we got to the ones who are like, okay, we understand what you're doing, we got you. And so communication due to time, completing projects on time, and getting the staff to understand your vision and back you is the biggest thing. Anything in Haiti, when we're talking about truly changing someone's thought process, you have to be willing to be in this long term no matter what. Because to earn their trust, for them to go out of their way, to see, to to even go home and think about what you reflect on what you said and want to see your vision. You've had to have shown them that you're here to stay. They're so used to organizations coming in, taking some nice pictures without their consent, posting it. Let's think about the orphanage that caught fire, for example. Come to find out they had millions in their checkings account, but when you look at how the conditions in which the children and the staff were living, it doesn't balance. So getting people to understand your vision, when every time you talk about nonprofit, this is what they know you're making money, but then this is a condition you're allowing them to work and live in, and then 2 or 3 years later you disappear, no explanation. So consistency, being there and showing them that you're not going anywhere, and when there are challenges, even if you have to get tough, you're tough out of love, you're tough out of respect. Yeah, so we've since transitioned from clinic to hospital, but we're not providing extensive healthcare procedures yet. We just added an operating room. So now our target audience, for lack of a better word, has grown. Because before the operating room, before a properly functioning laboratory, we were limited to the people in Cité Soleil who were disenfranchised, who had trouble paying for their fees. The hospital said they don't come see l'hôpital pou moun ki pa kapab même because they know they're not gonna get turned away. What I mean by how I explain it literally is that why you should support us is because unlike other organizations that start new projects, new this and new that, and they have to go find the resources, the location, and all of that stuff, which most of the time causes them to give up because of lack of support. What we do is we identify hospitals and schools that are already functioning. Because to me, with every school and hospital that's shutting down or that's not functioning properly, that's the community's inability to grow and prosper. Because I truly believe that the health of the community's hospital, healthcare and educational system reflects the overall community's health. Women, pregnant women are the people that we see the most. So it's hard to say that we have one target audience. The community is really who we serve. But now that we're adding more specialized services, like the operating rooms and private rooms now, and eventually the imaging room with MRI and X-ray, more people from, let's say, La Plaine, from Croix des Bouquets and places like that, it's widening. Our audience is widening now as we're adding more sophisticated services. But women, pregnant women, is definitely the population that we see, and children are the populations we see the most. Believe it or not, Haiti does have its laws and rules and regulation. It's whether they'll be enforced or not. The hospital itself does not have its bylaws or policies or regulations. This is where the foundation comes in. Myself and a team have worked on a code of ethics, a 79-page code of ethics that we'll be implementing next year. But as far as laws, rules, and regulation, they're more on the local and the national level. My dad does do his best to show the Haitian authority that he does respect what is in place, even if or when they're not enforced. So while we're striving to meet international standards, we definitely want to keep that going. The fact that we're respecting and following whatever, whether they could be one or two, whatever local and national laws and regulations there are when it comes to healthcare. We do allow people to volunteer. In terms of learning about what we do, I am having the website worked on. We're literally working on making sure that all our T's are crossed and all our I's are dotted. But to contact me, whether you'd like to volunteer, because there's when you think about a hospital, you might think that you just need to be a doctor to volunteer. No,
Mm-hmm.
you are wrong. No. A hospital is a whole institution, right? It's like a whole city. You're going to need training for or volunteers who are medically trained, but we also desperately need training for the staff in the different departments. We've had someone come. He's had experience with managing or organizing the CDC warehouse. He's come with us to help us organize our depot. We've had someone who just graduated in nursing school, and one of her main focus is data analysis. So she went to the hospital and asked questions about every department and is helping us come identify our weakest points so that we can address it. So you do not have to, even the housekeeping crew, right? We literally just use water and Clorox. For example, if you are the best custodian and you'd like to come help our housekeeping crew improve on their skills, by all means, everyone, electricians, whatever you can think of, every department you can think of, you can come volunteer. Everyone to know is that we are big on collaboration, not to get alarmed if you see this happening, that happening. It doesn't mean that we are doing it ourselves. We have partners, we have true supporters in Haiti and in the States as well supporting our work. So collaboration is of the utmost importance. Sending me an email at info@chffoundation. To donate, we have our Cash App in PayPal, Venmo. Biggest lesson I've learned is to be very selective about who you surround yourself with. Advice that I would give: read. You have to read how to execute, how to build a team. So again, my advice is to invest in books and invest in the education, personal growth, financial literacy, and accomplishing your goals in that order if you'd like more success. Yes, get yourself together, know what you stand for, protect your boundaries at all costs, then worry about the money, because if you have the money and you're not okay, nothing will last. Once you understand how to protect your money, how to make your money, then start your business and get that money or do your work. So that's my advice. Is it money? Is it a donation? And one thing I like people to know too, if you're a young man while I'm opening this and you'd like to take me out on a date, make a donation instead. No, seriously. That's what I want people to know about me. Don't waste my time asking those questions. Make a donation. Add up however you thought I was going to eat. Make a donation for that amount, because this is how you're gonna catch my attention. Do you really support what I have going on? Because I have proof for days on IG. I have proof for days. It's not just about telling me I'm beautiful.
Yes.
Support me.
Exactly. Cash App, Zelle.
Zelle,
Mama, PayPal.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cute.
I'm going to Haiti soon, so I'm taking it with me.
Yes.
I'll take pictures of me doing my work with the bag. I'll add some donations in there to pass out. So thank you.
Good. Awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. And this is the end of the interview. Thank you for your time. Thank you for spending it with us.
Pictures of me doing my work with the bag. I'll add some donations in there to pass out. So thank you.
Good.